If anyone needs me, I'll be in the Angry Dome.
All right, everybody. Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and whatever Truman Show bullshit continues from that line. I am, as always, Pastor Don, and welcome to the Angry Dome, where we are going to rant about the news for a while and see if we can't be both informative from a news perspective and informative from a Christian perspective. I am joined, as always, by the insert amazing adjective here, Courtney Fraley.
What up?
So, yeah, today, full disclosure for the ones of viewers who watch our program on the regular. We're reaching a point, like, for ourselves where we're not actually sure what to talk about. Like, I think this is honestly, between you and me, I think this is probably the end of, like, we're reaching the natural conclusion of what the Angry Dome was set up to do as a regular recurring. But that being said, it's not the kind of, like, plateau I would have hoped for, because it's just,
What makes you think we're reaching the end of like the purpose of the Angry Dome?
well, my instinct on that is that because, like, we've kind of reached a plateau where nothing is going, like, the answers that we're going to have to give aren't going to be fundamentally different, because
Yeah.
the answers we've covered like this is the government of the United States has effectively fallen. We are under an oppressed tyranny by the wealthy capitalists who are trying to fuck you over every way they can for their own benefit. Band together in communities and fight back, and that's really the only answer left. And so how many more times we can say that before we're really just screaming it, and, that could be an issue. Yeah, I don't know how much more we're going to be able to cover on that. And so I don't know that we're giving new information at this point.
I think maybe we can go forward and do it on a case by case and just do an Angry Dome episode when there needs to be one, because we have things we need
Yeah,
to yell about.
I think that's
Because
likely what's
part of
going
this
to
is
happen
also
here.
catharsis for those of us who are aware of the world around us and following the shit that's going on. I mean, like, we're going into this and we're both so burnt out. We're like, what should we even talk about to start with? And, not even thinking of the fucking shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
Did we talk about that
Or,
last time, or like
no,
that right there's the problem?
that's what I'm saying. That just happened.
Jesus Christ.
Like, that just
Wow.
happened this past week.
All right, well, it's as good a place to start as any, I guess, because holy shit, I thought that was like 3 weeks ago.
Like, it's not getting less crazy, dude. It's just the crazy is becoming
I
something that feels normal to
Yeah.
us.
To be
Do
clear,
we
I
need to
was
become like a
not.
This Is Not Normal podcast?
Yeah.
Or
To be clear, I was not saying it's getting less crazy. I was saying that the response to the crazy isn't going to fundamentally change from this level out.
yeah, the what do I do about this, we can reiterate with each given episode, but I
Yeah.
feel like it bears dealing with the events of the time, because I don't know, community. I say that, but we don't get a whole lot of watchers or listeners. I mean, I know my roommate Melissa listens to the show at work sometimes.
Yeah, we get
But
a decent number of people on the rewatch a lot of the time. I wish we'd see more of y'all active in the chat here. So if you are catching it on the rewatch, try to catch it when we do it, or show up in the comments, or you know, write the link on a pigeon and pigeon mail it to your friend, or whatever works. Main lines of communication aren't really working, so like spam signal, I don't know, whatever works. Um, I don't know any.
spam signal. God.
Um, but yeah, so. Where we are today, I guess, as good as anything. Why don't we
There's also
start with?
airlines going out of business at this point because of the price of oil.
Yeah. Let's start with the assassination attempt, because I didn't realize we hadn't talked about that, because time is a construct that no longer seems to operate correctly.
Yeah, it's gone past wibbly wobbly at this point.
Wibbly wobbly, holy shitty. Pretty much where we're at.
Holy
All right,
wibbly
so
wobbly. Holy all right.
it's telling how far we've got already. That in between the last episode and today, we've gotten an assassination attempt, and the most recent reasonable article I can find on that is the one that watchers are seeing on the screen right now. Man charged with attempted Trump assassination, indicted for assaulting Secret Service officer. And I think, like that, I'll use this article as our starting point because it does bring to mind, to me at least, something that is just fucking hilarious to me. Like, when it's crazy ass Trump bullshit, we can go from attempted presidential assassination to already on trial inside of like a week. But like the actual
I mean,
justice
I also
system.
feel like they strap a rocket to cases like this of this kind of importance, but also, not to sound like a tin hat, but the fact that he's being charged with assaulting a Secret Service officer and not attempting to assassinate officials of the United States
Mhm.
makes me feel like there's something going on because why?
Yeah, what makes me feel like something's going on is the fact that the fucking Supreme Court shot down his ballroom, and he suddenly then decides to attend the correspondence dinner. There's a convenient assassination attempt, and he's on TV 15 minutes later saying, "Well, I guess that's why we need the ballroom." Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, it's
Yeah, Jim
it's
Jones
like,
staged assassination attempts to keep his followers worshiping him too.
I
So
mean, I I gotta admit, like I've been kind of on the side while I'm cooking dinner and shit. I've been rewatching old episodes of Parks and Rec lately, and I have to say that the behavior of Trump right now just is giving off huge John Ralphio and his sister vibes. Like,
I haven't actually seen Parks and Rec.
damn shame. A solidly good bit of sitcom, but yeah, basically
Yeah,
just
it's
the
just one of those things where there's 8 years of it or whatever, and I'm like, nah.
yeah, one of those things that you can just kind of, you don't even have to binge watch. Just background watching for me. Even when I like hadn't seen it, it made good background watching. You don't got to catch everything. It's just solid
All
comedy
right.
work. But yeah, it's basically like the teenager going, like the not teenager, really late 20s kind of person who's one. I want a thing. No, but what if I shoot myself in the face? Will you give it to me then, Dad? Like, what the fuck? I mean,
Yeah.
that's honestly the answer to all of this. Anyways, it's just kind of like what the unmitigated fuck. But
What in the unmitigated fuck is about right?
yeah. Now, what do you make of the guy himself, the guy who allegedly did this thing?
I haven't looked into it all that much because, like, I am not the conspiracy type, but the Trump assassination attempts give me pause. I haven't. I kept my mouth mostly shut about it with
Hmm.
the whole ear maxi pad bullshit, but like too much of that didn't pass the sniff test. And this immediately, I was just like, "Oh shit!" But then, like every successive tidbit I've run across, I haven't heard that much about him. I heard that he was a teacher and wasn't like involved in anything radical or something.
Yeah, I've got up on the screen here the BBC's article on the guy. Um,
I mean, I
basically,
can't.
I'm gonna scroll around. You guys might be in whiplash online, so I apologize. Neighbors in the community, they were shocked to see him. Nobody really seemed to know him. He's yet to make a plea. Their photos are just like kids in the neighborhood and stuff. Um, the people in his hometown of Torrance, California, refer to it as Borrance because nothing happens there. Is what they're saying.
Mm.
Like the guy would drink at the Irish bar. The BBC is reporting that as they asked around the neighborhood, nobody seemed to know him. Like one person says, "Talk to the mailman; he knows things." Um, None of the neighbors we spoke to knew Cole Allen well beyond smiling and waving to him, but many know his parents and were quite protective of them. So like the tutoring center where Alan. So okay, first off, Alan wasn't like a teacher. He worked at like a tutoring center.
Okay.
Um, um, she would see Alan on his lunch break eating alone. He wouldn't look at you. He wouldn't interact. He never made eye contact. Sounds like a guy going through some shit. Let's see. He studied at Caltech. He worshipped at Pasadena United Reformed Church. I'm not familiar with it. Um, yeah, pretty much everything that they've got here is just he's a dude. Like he's just
Hmm.
some guy. Now I have seen. I don't know about the rest of you. I don't know about you, Courtney. I have seen online wild shit claiming that he's like a radical left Democrat who was trying to kill like all this other stuff. But I've seen no claims that he was theologically ideologically conservative or anything. Um, Federal campaign finance records shows he donated $25 to PACs in support of Kamala Harris for president in 2024. Um, Allegedly sent an email to his family before the attack, which said administration officials are targets, prioritized from highest ranking to lowest. But like, not a lot of clear on why. Now, I'm going to go
I
ahead.
mean, see, I have a hard time with that because why would hi, Mr. FBI man, I've never fired a gun in my life. Okay, but why why would someone want to shoot Donald Trump? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's fair.
That's not there's just so many possible answers is more of the problem.
Yeah, my the more I look at the thing, the more like first off, I have to say the thing because like every faith leader has said this so far, and I haven't really publicly come out and say it, but like killing people is wrong, y'all. Like this isn't the way to
Yeah.
accomplish it. Like even someone like
Yeah.
Donald Trump, as tempting as it might be, and holy fuck, is it tempting some days? Shooting him in the face is not the appropriate option. Like that's not the way to
Wanting to
solve the
do a thing and doing a thing are also two different things.
right now. You know
Both from a
this is going
theological
to
standpoint and a legal one.
yeah. And this is a much larger conversation to get into. We are getting to the what I kind of call the quantum physics of theology. Because you know how in quantum physics, the closer you get to the center of a black hole, the more and more you get to the edge of what physics makes sense. And the minute you cross that event horizon, all of the mathematical aspects of physics break down, and we don't know what the fuck's going on.
Hmm.
Because the knowledge of everything we have doesn't reach beyond that point. This is kind of where we're at with this, and what I mean by that is, at what point is violence called for? Is the question. And like this is something that religion has tried to answer for a long time. Despite being completely stupid and wrong about every aspect of it, J.D. Vance was technically correct to point out that the Catholic Church does have a just war doctrine. But
Yeah, there
even
we go.
that,
So.
yeah, even that is questionable at best. Because on the surface of
But
it,
it,
the
it talks about
laws,
exhausting every other possible option.
right, as it stands, on the surface of it, the laws of theological physics, if you will, within the Christian faith tell us that there is no situation in which violence is called for. Period. End of discussion. Full stop. Walk away. Mic drop. Etc.
But
The
someone
pro.
like Donald Trump is a black hole.
Yeah, Donald Trump is basically the quantum singularity of theology here because, and I have to admit, in the same way that Hitler was.
Hmm.
Like, and this is it forces a lot of us to start running the numbers and looking for, okay, the evil that we are experiencing from this person versus the moral imperative to never kill or harm another human being. We're hitting an event horizon here at which the answer's got to be something, but either our current theological physics aren't lining up for it, or we're wrong about what we understand about the theological physics of it. Now, is it like in physics, if we go through to the other side of a black hole and come back with new data, it generally means it was generally understood to mean that we're going to have to rewrite the laws of physics. And like it's possible that we're at a point where a totally different understanding of a theology of love may be necessary, something more radical, something more dramatic. I don't even necessarily know what that would be. Um,
Well,
and
and
that's
that's complicated too, because you talked about doing the essentially the life math, the calculus of it, like
yeah.
who dies versus who dies, but that becomes an impossible metric to, because then it's like, okay, if you can draw the line somewhere, then why is it there? Should it be back here instead? Should
And
it be way back here?
mathematically speaking, if you like, it is literally a mathematical impossibility because when you're measuring the value of one life versus values of millions of life, the problem that you run into is that each life has an infinite value. So you're measuring one infinite against multiple infinites, which mathematically doesn't work.
Hmm.
So like either we need a new set of physics or we need a new entirely different approach, which I suspect is kind of where we're at right now. Now, a lot of people out there are going to be saying that the solution here is something along the lines of the, let's say, patch that the old Catholics came up with, a just war doctrine, an event horizon, a point at which we say, okay, killing is not okay, except in this case, where we create an exception.
Well, we can also say this thing over here, this thing that these people have turned their resources into,
mhm,
it won't stop killing people.
yeah.
It needs to be stopped from killing people. This is the only way that we know how to stop it. Nothing else has worked.
Right. And I suspect that you're probably right. And that's probably where the theological miscalculation is for most of us, that we're fixated on the man and not the machine.
Oh,
Um,
it's the machine.
yeah.
It is
And
absolutely the machine. I would probably I would cut off one of my feet to have to replace all of the Trump years with like bonus Obama years, but I still like the man has war crimes to answer for. He bombed the fuck out of Libya. He deported more people than any other president until recently, I think. I don't know if
mhm,
Trump has passed him yet. Like that's
yeah.
insane.
And that's important for us to remember is that like Obama was charismatic and Clinton was charismatic in a way, I guess.
Fuck Bill
But
Clinton.
yeah, well, like the problem is neither of them were good people. Neither of them
Hmm.
were politically or institutionally in a place that's even approaching a Christian approach to world leadership. And like you can go back into the history of it and track it all the way to the rise of neoliberalism and all of that at the beginning of Clinton's time, and the knee-jerk reactions to Reagan and all that. And the you can track it back to the evangelical push that basically shaped us towards two right-wing parties instead of a right and a left. Like there's a lot of things that can be laid at the feet of it, but the simple fact of the matter is the office of the presidency has never attracted the best of people in the first place. Andrew Jackson. Um, so like we were never going to get good people in that office to begin with.
It takes a ridiculous amount of ego
Yeah.
to even to not just think that you'd make a good president,
Hmm.
but to convince enough other people that you'd make a good president
Yeah.
and actually try to become president. Just like all of the things that have to build up to that. Like you have to have such a massive opinion of yourself and
Yeah.
so much ambition that it's impossible to attract like a complete bastion of morality.
And this is why I tend to really regret that, you know, Democrats notwithstanding, that everybody didn't go as hard as we could for Bernie, because Bernie
Uh-huh.
Sanders, I wouldn't say that the man has ego in that way. What he has is kind of like the shiny version of ego, which is, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to do the right thing and fuck all y'all. Like, it's not
I'm not supposed
ego.
to. Fuck it. We're doing it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that
Well,
is
and
an
now
incredibly
Bernie is
rare
so
find.
fuck off old at this point too, and he's still just fresh as a spring daisy.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't like about Bernie Sanders is the fact that he is so fucking old and still so clearly fit for office and a major important voice for the downtrodden in Washington, that he's like single-handedly an argument against putting an upper limit on the age for the presidency.
Yeah,
You
he's
know.
the best argument against that very thing we want to have. But then again, I'll remind everyone too that AOC and Mandami exist too. So like,
Oh yeah. Well, Mamdani was born in Uganda though, so he's not eligible.
yeah, I know, but like if we've already given up on the idea that laws have meaning, so fuck it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is very much like okay, a bunch of our founding fathers weren't from here either. Like,
I will say, if nothing else, the petty part of
you want
me,
to build America without Lafayette? He was fucking French.
yeah,
And he went
no,
back
no,
home too. He was just here for a while and fought our war with us.
I'll put it to you this way: if nothing else, I would love to see Mondami become president for one main reason, because I would love the thing for Trump to see on his deathbed to be an actual Muslim from Africa get appointed to the office of president. A Muslim socialist from
I don't know,
Africa. This
dude.
one's for real.
I don't know, dude. Have you seen their interactions?
Well, I've read up a couple of things on that, and I'm gonna take the article off the screen because we're just kind of talking at this point. Um, I have read up on their interactions, and there's a lot to be said about it. But
Like,
what I
most spouses don't look at their wives the way Trump looked at Mom Donnie. Like,
uh-huh, and that's because Mondami, for everything you might say about the guy, most of which I think seems to be good, the dude knows how to play people like Trump. Like he knows exactly what the our friends in the Middle East know. He knows what a lot of people in conservative groups know, which is how to flatter the guy in such a way that he doesn't fucking notice that you're not doing what he wants.
well, it's like, didn't South Korea give him a crown or something?
Yeah, right.
Just like, this is exactly what he freaking wants. And of course it is.
Yeah,
She
and say what you will about the
invented a
ridiculous.
peace prize to give to him because he was salty he didn't get his own Nobel.
And say what you will about the ridiculous dumpster fire that is the current prime minister of Japan. She knew to show up, smile, fawn, and act like a silly, crazy person so that he could laugh at her and do the whole dancing monkey routine, so that he didn't notice that she was trying to fleece him. Like, look, she's again not a fan of Japan's current PM. She's a fucking mess. Like, I hate the conservative trend going on in Japan right now, but like
A lot of that all over,
everybody
it turns
knows.
out. There's not
Yeah,
any getting away from it, it would seem. We're going to
it
have to
is.
fight it on a large scale.
Yeah. On the upside, yeah, there have been many a time where I've lamented the fact that I haven't had opportunities to go toe to toe with immigration and fight for justice. Well, hey, you know what? Things keep going the way they are. I might have those opportunities come to me. Um, you know, because let me tell you,
Yeah.
here in Japan, like the anti-immigrant sentiment is really being pushed hard lately. Like one of my big challenges personally is I'm in the process of trying to move towards permanent residency, uh, and what used to be basically like a $50 fee, they jacked up to like 3 grand because they want to discourage
Jeez.
immigrants from coming. Like they've
Well,
publicly gone up.
frankly, we've got a very populous country over here full of folks who are looking for escape plans. I have friends with escape plans in Africa. I have friends with escape plans in Central Asia. Like, yeah, Central Asia. Like, it's, yeah, like, there's going to be a lot of emigration. Um, if we don't do something about this shit. But and no, and I'm not like I'm. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a tanky. Like my no the Viva la Revolution. Yeah, okay. Do you have a plan? If not, no. Shut up. Like, can you point me to somebody who has a plan? No, then shut up. Like, shut up and feed your neighbor. Like, but seriously, like, how long can this keep going?
Well, that brings us back to kind of what we were talking about earlier too. Is a revolution today, which I know we're not supposed to say that particular R word lest we get taken down or what have you, but that is what's called for at this point, a revolution. But it's not going to look like revolutions of the past. Revolutions of the past have been violent escapades where the government has been forcibly toppled by individuals or groups of individuals seeking to establish a better system. The problem
Mm-hmm.
is The government of the United States is the single most powerful force in the history of the world by multiple orders of magnitude.
Yeah.
There is, and this is the same thing that I said about the goddamn Proud Boys back in the day. There is no amount of well-armed militiaing that's going to overthrow this thing. That's not the way it gets done.
Yeah.
So
Well,
the
I've heard it said, and possibly truly, that they don't have enough people and supplies to just, uh, basically use the military to occupy the whole country. But
yeah,
like my general response is, one, they don't have to. They have the cops.
yeah,
We're already occupied.
hmm
And like, two, they don't have to do it all at once. Like,
yeah,
it's not like if they start on one coast and work their way across, putting everyone in line and putting everything exactly the way that they want it, which
hmm
I'm not saying that's the way that the government would put down a revolution anyway, but like, just there's too much at stake too. Like,
yeah,
I really would rather not see armed revolution if at all possible. I mean, part of it,
hmm
I would like to say that it's because I'm a Christian, but it's largely a matter of just a much more simple human. I don't want that many people to die,
right.
and it would be a lot, I think.
I agree. Um, Hang on, I'm having an
Any
issue with
normal
the.
president, I feel like if there was some sort of a like armed rebellion, it would be handled with kid gloves and, constantly with an eye on, respect for the foundations of our country, regardless of what was happening.
Yeah.
But we
In
don't have
term,
an normal president.
yeah, in terms of methodology, the two things I think we have to talk about when we're discussing the revolution that must come is again, it's not going to be a violent revolution, and I think um, some of what we're going to have to do is going to have to be drawn more from like the work of Gandhi than the work of like the French Revolution and such of that nature, because uh, we the first thing that we need to realize is what are we revolutioning against? Um,
So
we're not the hypothetical revolution being discussed here, and I have to throw that out there because I'm not specifically planning a revolution. U.S. government, don't come like forcibly extradite me or something.
no,
Um,
trust me, he does not have the time or the resources.
God no. But the hypothetical revolution being discussed here would not be against the United States government per se. It would be against those who have occupied it, the wealthy, the privileged, and the powerful, who are using the government as a tool to their ends. The government itself is not necessarily the
But
enemy in
that's
the
the
way
way it's
that
designed
kings
to
were.
run.
Exactly. Well, that's the
That's
point. So I think
so
that like our, the guy who attempts to assassinate government officials, the guy who tried to shoot Trump, assuming, of course, that that was his legitimate intent and that he wasn't like a plant or some crazy shit like that,
right.
which
If we
is,
take that at
hey,
face
with this guy
value,
is possible. Um,
yeah,
like assuming this was legit, the problem here is he's attempting to attack the government and he's attempting to do it by force. Um, what we need aren't assassination attempts or militias. What we need are work stoppages. What we need is what we need to be
I
fighting is
love.
capitalism.
This is a union household, but I gotta be honest. The idea of general strike, I can't see it working because you have to get everyone to agree to do it, and you can't get everyone to agree on a fucking pizza order. Like,
Yeah.
the idea of everyone agreeing to stop just interacting with commerce for what, a week plus at least, in order for it to work. How?
I think the
How does it even
methodology
work?
here. I think a general strike is the wrong call because it's logistically impossible. I think what we need here is an army of Toyohiko Kagawas. Now,
You're gonna have to elaborate.
I'm going to have to elaborate because despite my repeated insistences that you all should read up on this fucking amazing guy, that regularly referred to as the Gandhi of Japan, my favorite Christian theologian, Toyohiko Kagawa was pre-war Japan Christian theologian, studied at Princeton Seminary, same as me. So, so I first started hearing about him, actually. He was a poet who, as soon as he returned from seminary, he moved into the Shinkawa slums and spent the rest of his life ministering to the least of these. But his way of doing it is what got him arrested repeatedly throughout World War II and after. Because his primary things that he were doing were exactly the sort of thing y'all have heard me bitch about constantly. He took the church communities that he had and he tried to make them self-contained economic spaces. He built workers' co-ops so that the workers owned the means of production. And he basically made everything interconnected amongst the least of these to make the people around him fundamentally and functionally self-sufficient. That was
Mm-hmm.
his go-to. And when you do that, you then gain a situation in which um, you don't need the rich people anymore. Now,
No.
where we need to be as a society right now, what this revolution needs to
If we
look like,
just
and
all
this is,
we all the funny thing is if we all just agreed that money was stupid and we were going to start start like a different capitalism all over, that alone would riggedy wreck the hyper capitalists of the world.
you
But
know,
that's also asking something that's not going to happen.
we're already equipped for a Star Trek style utopia. We just don't want to do it. But that's beside the point. No, what we need to be doing right now is the same thing I've been saying this whole time: is churches and other community centers need to be building these self-sufficient operational structures, not for profit. Like everybody volunteer an hour of your time to grow food or do some shit,
Mm-hmm.
and create your own self-contained community systems. And then you don't have to rely on Walmart or whatever to get your shit. Start teaching the people in your community how to sew, how to knit, how to repair stuff so that you're not throwing away. Like, sure, buy your shit from Timu, but then keep fixing it up, you know?
Yeah, that's honestly like I saw something recently, and it's like, no, you can't expect to sit for every person to learn how to, cook and mend and like plant their own garden and fix their own machines and take all of their remotely useful trash and upcycle it, and like nobody has time for all that. That's part of the point of community. You have somebody in your neighborhood who has chickens and they provide eggs for the community, and I'm just describing a village, but like we have insisted on doing everything on such a large scale that it makes it impossible to do it ethically, it seems like
Yeah.
I feel like when it comes to mass distribution of things that people need to areas where people don't have those things, I feel like we definitely have the infrastructure to be doing that, especially if we free up a lot of that the existing machinery of it by positioning our communities to be more self-sufficient in general, and
Right.
then we don't have to engage with the capitalist machine quite as much to begin with.
Yeah.
We can go ahead and if one person in your neighborhood grows summer squash, everybody has summer squash, right? Like anyone who has someone on their block who grows summer squash knows this. Zucchini is the same way. Okay, then one person in your community needs to learn is how to grow just carrots. Just learn to grow carrots, maybe radishes too if you're feeling froggy, but like grow just one or two things.
Hmm.
Learn how to grow those things. It's like, oh well, you'll eventually deplete the soil in that area. Okay, you can go to your neighbor's yard and sow on their plot instead, if you're all realizing that this is the land that you're using to grow the food to feed everybody. Like,
And this harkens back to something I said like, what, like a dozen
it's so
episodes ago.
simple.
Like I remember growing up with the church I grew up with, it had like a eighth of a mile long parking lot. And I said, we get like 15 people every Sunday. We don't need this huge parking lot space. Why not cover it with dirt and grow some fucking crops?
Hmm.
Like that's what churches should be doing. And fair shout out for, July, once we get our new building up and running. I intend to do that at least somewhat with the space we have there. Go and grow some crops. But that said, like, yeah, we need to be the revolution we're looking at is not one in which we turn to the government and attack it, but one in which we turn away from it and say, we don't need you anymore.
Hmm.
Like, that's the kind of revolution we're looking at. And it will almost certainly, at least at first, end in the same way that Gandhi's did. You start interfering with the means of nationalized production, they're going to fight back. They're going to declare it a crime. They're going to decry it revolution and rabble rousing, and people are going to get in trouble for this. And it should be, and I'm saying this to you, clergy, it should be us. We should be the ones doing that. That's our job. Get off your butts. Um, like I know I have often lamented the fact that I haven't been able to, get out there fist fight with ice and shit like that. But as fun as that might be, we need to be doing different shit now. Like so, yeah, like that is the revolutionary answer right there. That's what we need to be doing. Is we need to be just giving up on this system and making a better one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that rounds that out, I suppose. Did we want to talk about anything else? I mean, we can talk about the war a little bit. I'll bring this one up on screen here. From the BBC, Iran considering U.S. proposal to end war, official says. Any thoughts on
Official
that?
from where?
Hmm?
Official from where? I love that in addition to the taco, Trump always chickens out about like fucking everything. Um, that apparently the stock bros and such also now have nacho. Not a chance Hormuz opens.
There you
Like,
go.
it's just it's so much like dick helicoptering. It's like there's human lives in the balance here, and like yeah, the actual primary human lives that are being impacted by all this, but also like the people who cannot, like literally cannot pay for gas now because it is. I mean, it's crazy. It's like $5 a gallon in places around here right now. It's insane. Um, well, it's mostly not up to 5. It's more likely to be closer to 4.50, which is fucking psychotic. Um, and is the worst it's been since like the Bush administration, I think. Um, God, just there's there's also the matter of all of these important things that we need to be dealing with that we're not even touching because oh well, we're bombing Iran right now. It's important. Like we still haven't dealt with the fact that we, bombed Venezuela and deposed their leader.
Yeah,
We
that's
just
still
kind
a thing.
of we're still not dealing with we're pretending like Palestine is over somehow when there are still millions of people there that haven't been killed yet, but Israel is doing its damnedest to do so. And it is still an ongoing genocide, and we just don't talk about it. Like it's just not happening anymore. Israel's attacking the shit out of Lebanon. I think I heard that we bombed the UAE. Just it's fucking psychotic.
This
The
is what
amount
happens when you take Trump's gish
war
patter
going on right
approach. Yeah, this is what happens when you
now. And then
take Trump's.
there's the shit beyond that. There's the fucking Epstein files. There's I mean, let's go way past the Epstein files, way down to nitty gritty basics. There's still the fact that this president is making money hand over fist off of being president from side hustles.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't right. It's against what it's against what the most naive among us think this country stands for.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to say is this is exactly what happens when you take Trump's gish patter approach and apply it on a broad scale. You do one wrong thing and people will come at you. You do 5 million wrong things and nobody can keep track of which thing to focus on.
Yeah. Flood the zone,
Yeah.
I believe, is what they openly have called the strategy. Like it's fucking exhausting. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like you asked, okay, well, before we get started, we have a couple of minutes usually, and we'll kind of go, okay, well, what do we want to talk about today? And I have taken to largely getting my news updates from like the fucking Colbert and shit because I need a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. Like holy shit. And I get news feed and stuff like that, but I skim stuff. I don't. Again, I've got a child to raise, and I am a woman whose life and mental health are often held together with prayers and scotch tape.
Yeah,
So
and
like I
this
can't focus
is
on it constantly.
yeah.
And there's so fucking much going on that I still know about.
Yeah.
Like,
And this is a piece you've heard me counsel people on our Discord server this exact thing. It is harsh as hell to say, but there's not a goddamn thing you or I can do about Palestine right now. There's not a goddamn thing we can do about Ukraine. There's not a goddamn thing we can do about Venezuela or Iran or even the government as it stands. Very little anyway. And so, well, it is keeping informed is something we all
or
feel is something.
Sudan or Sierra Leone or
Oh
Libya
yeah, yeah. We could just do the
or
rest
the
of the episode
Congo.
listing,
The
but
Congo's been fucked. It's not 100% us. That's a lot of the Congo is Europe fucking it up. But
yeah.
anyway,
But no,
sorry.
no. The point is like all of these things a lot of us have this feeling that there is a moral imperative for us to know about every evil in the world, and it comes with the information age. The fact of the matter is, if you can, sure, but we have to be able to understand that knowing about a thing and being able to do a damn thing about it are two very different things. And right now, most of us do not have the ability to impact that change in any way. And I know the immediate response is going to be, well, what about when it comes to voting and stuff like that? Like our voting hasn't mattered in close to 10 years anyway. It simply hasn't. So there's really little we can do to impact change at home.
Hang on, interjection.
Mhm.
Voting doesn't matter. It's like please do not get that twisted with do not vote. Please at least fucking vote.
No,
You
do
can
it. But
try and push the machine around. Like
yeah,
you can try. You can say that you did, at the very fucking least. It's not that hard to do. Just go out and fucking vote in case it works. Like
yeah.
there are times when it fucking works. The system
Here's
is fucked right now, but there are still times when voting works. Again, see also Zoran Mamdani, mayor of New
Yeah.
York City.
Here's the thing. You're standing on the sidewalk, you see a toddler sitting in the middle of the street and a car barreling at it. Do you throw yourself at the car and the toddler and try to do something, or do you stand by and watch that toddler get turned into a fine paste? Of course you throw yourself. Are you going to be able to stop the car? No. Are you going to be able to necessarily do anything? No. But you have to do something. Um, and that's exactly what this is. There are many toddlers sitting in the middle of the street right now, and are we going to be able to do anything? Maybe not, probably not. Is there a chance? Maybe a little one. But that chance is worth it for what's at stake. So we still throw ourselves at it. Truth be told, though, voting is not the same thing because it's not like you have a lot to lose by voting. But the principle's really about the
Yeah.
same. Like we should definitely
Well,
still
and I mean,
do it.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. If you're going to talk about this is to the tankies and tanky adjacents out there. If you're going to talk about how you would go to war, if you're going to talk about how you would take up arms against the government to save freedom and democracy and America, and like what we thought as kids it stood for, like then can you maybe prove it by taking like half an hour out of your day once every few years to
Mhm.
go do something that, oh, it's political theater, it doesn't matter. Okay, I don't give a shit, go do it anyway. Can you do,
Look,
like, if you're only going to do something if you know with 100% certainty that it's going to work, fuck you. That's not how anything gets done.
as an addendum to that, I'm going to go ahead and say that if you are willing to take up arms against the government, but you're not willing to plant some fucking carrots, then you're not a hero of the revolution. You're a proud boy with a different political ideology. You're just a different flavor of cosplayer, and you need to shut the fuck up and learn how to do something useful.
Also, if you're prepping, you can't do canned goods forever. Learn how to make your own medicines, learn how to treat a wound, learn how to grow vegetables in a hoop house.
Yeah.
Like,
And like as a complete and utter side note to this, throughout years of requisite and non-requisite education, I've often been told that the only way to get ahead in life is to pick a specialty and ride hard for that. And I've been a big believer in being a jack of all trades, learning how to do many things very reasonably well rather than one thing expertly. We are entering
mhm.
into an era where knowing how to do a bunch of shit is going to be really helpful. Like,
Yeah, don't take my earlier thing about not everybody can learn how to do everything. Okay, learn a bit, of how to do as many things as you can. That's still good.
Yeah. Look,
But also,
you don't have
like,
to study to be a
network with your
doctor, but if
community.
you sorry, go ahead.
No, I was basically just saying that network with your community. You got a friend who knows herbology, fantastic. You got
Hmm.
another friend who can fix just about anything. Go for it. Yeah, this person can sew really well, like on small or large scale. Yeah, good. This person already knows how to grow crops. So when you have a hard time, you go with it. When your potato crop's failing, you go to this person and find out what it is that you need to do to amend the soil or whatever. Like, again, it all comes back to community. And funny thing enough, this does round back to the fact that this is a church podcast. Jesus told us to like live in community with one another. He told us to share, to like give to those as have need. That's not just money, that's like knowledge and help. Money
Yeah.
does not have to be part of this equation at all.
In fairness, money wasn't even necessarily that much of a thing when Jesus was teaching about it. It existed certainly, but like it wasn't the main thing the way it is now. Like
I don't
capitalism
know.
didn't really
Money
exist.
changed that at the temple, dude.
I mean, I'm not saying they didn't have money. I'm saying that it was a larger scale element of what was effectively a barter system. Like it was for more meta stuff than it was for the one to ones of daily life. Um,
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
yeah. So like
Yeah,
nowadays,
and you
if you,
find that
you
if you actually form community and you're close with your neighbors, you find that that kind of thing happens anyway.
yeah,
You know, I it, if I'm watching the neighbor down the street's kids, he buys us a pizza. Cool. That's community. That's helping one another out in different ways,
yeah,
trading and
and like
bartering.
I'm going to even throw this out here for the capitalism bros because, like, you want to say capitalism is the best system yet designed. Let me tell you, the function we're describing here could have been assimilated by capitalism to move things forward. It was called UBI. Like the
Mm-hmm.
whole purpose of what we're talking about is to meet everyone's daily basic needs so that we can focus on other shit that's important. Now, we're talking about disconnecting from the capitalism system and saying, fuck it, we'll do it ourselves. But it didn't have to be this way. Capitalism could have looked at this and said, yeah, well, that's the next logical step. Let's just do that and let's evolve. But instead, capitalism said, no, fuck you, give me all the money.
Yeah, capitalists, if you want to save your system, you need to do UBI like now. Because here's the secret. I'm giving secrets to the enemy here. Here's the secret. That'll help. That might grind this whole thing to a halt. If you
Yeah,
can make sure that everyone can function and live uh, with dignity in your capitalist system, we'll keep doing it.
yeah. It's
Like
the
if
old,
that's a bridge too far, you're gonna fall. This
yeah.
cannot get whether by the hands of the lefties or by just time wearing it down because it's not sustainable.
Well, it's what I call the paradox of the mall sunglasses hut manager. You think that the best way to keep people doing their jobs is to make them desperate and addicted, to have them come suckle at your economic teat, to have them constantly needing to give you, to make them addicts, basically. And what happens is you wind up with the highest fucking turnover possible. You treat your employees like shit. You give them next to nothing. They're going to stay there for exactly as long as they need to in order to do something better. They're going to give you two birds, three if you're lucky, on the way out the door. But if you come in as a manager and say, look, no, like I'm here to give you as much of a wage as I can. I'm here to empower you, to help you train on cross train on new skills, learn how to do something else. And if you stay here, great. If you don't, you go on to something better. That'll benefit you and benefit other people too. You treat your people well, you'll have people working their whole lives at the sunglasses hut. And that's exactly what we're running into here on a macro level is all of the people who are in charge of the capitalistic system are the first type of manager. They want the entire populace suckling at their economic teat. And what they need to be doing is saying, nah, man, we're in this together. We need
Yeah.
you as much as you need us. And if you are on the top of things and you recognize that, and you recognize that and you empower people, what you're going to find is that whatever the hell your system is, it will prosper because you are recognizing the inherent worth and value of the people within it. Capitalism,
Mhm.
communism, socialism, they can all prosper ethically if they begin from a place of recognizing the inherent worth of the people participating in it. However, if you look at that system and say, fuck you and everyone in it, I want you to give me mine, and you continue to ride that system into the ground, eventually people are going to realize that God created this earth so that everybody can get their own needs met on their own. We don't need you. We can grow. The only thing keeping everybody from doing what we've described, of growing everything in community gardens and building and repairing our own things, is the fact that it's inconvenient, the fact that it's easier to function as a society. But if the social contract's gone and we're not going to function as a society, we all know we have the ability to just
Oh
not
yeah.
do that.
Mm.
And that will eventually,
Yeah,
when you
I'm learning
make
to
it,
do a ridiculous number of things at this point
yeah,
because
when you
it's like
make the yeah, when you make the
I
social
want to help.
contract
I
too
want to be a helping
inconvenient,
hands where I can.
yeah. When you make the social contract too inconvenient to participate in, eventually people will stop
Mm-hmm.
participating in it. And so the whole goal of running a society is to make the society benefit its participants. And once you lose that, like, you're on a fast train to get Fucksville. So
Oh
that's a
well, it
perfect
appears
line
we've.
to end on.
Yeah, I was gonna say it appears we've hit 11:30. Do we want to go ahead and wrap her up?
I think we're solid where we're at. I think we've covered a lot. And
Yeah.
I think we're coming back to the same conclusion we had at the beginning. I think, in terms of practical advice, the Angry Dome has functionally run its course. Um, barring any new crazy bullshit in the world of news, which hey could well happen, we never know. I don't think.
Say I'm probably going to be contacting you occasionally and being like, "Hey, check CNN. We need an Angry Dome episode." You
Yeah,
know,
I'm
like
pretty sure that's gonna be how it works. It'll fall into the same category as things like Psalms from the Trails, which are intermittent series that aren't technically canceled but will come back when needed. Which, by the way, fun plug, that's a series that's coming back in the next week or so. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, because we're going to
Psalms
be
from the Trails
doing.
was good.
Well, the thing is we're going to be doing, not this Sunday, but the next Sunday, we're going to be doing the hiking worship, assuming the weather cooperates. And I need to do a test run to figure out if the tech's actually going to work the way I think it's going to. So we're going to have an episode of Psalms from the Trails, whether y'all want it or not, because I have to figure this shit out.
Yeah, we're
So,
doing some. But the brick and mortar church for Unfinished is undergoing some major changes right now. So Pastor
if
Don
I
is leading a series of weirdo
If by major
services.
changes you mean has been razed to the ground, you are correct. I posted pictures in the Discord server for anyone interested, but the church building
I'm
is
just trying to be
gone.
efficient and relaying information.
Ah,
No offense, but and this is coming from me. You can get a little verbose.
what, me, a pastor, verbose? Perish the thought. Nah.
Perish. Really?
You caught it. Good for you.
Is that a fucking church joke?
You're damn right it is. Um,
Oh, I feel the need to throw this in every fucking time we do this. The Pope continues to be base as hell.
fuck yeah.
But yeah, let's move along. Let's move
Yeah.
along and wrap up the pod. I just like again, it is. I keep seeing posts on Reddit who are like agreeing so hard with the Pope right now. It's a weird time to be a Lutheran. And I'm just
Yeah.
like,
Unrelated side note, I saw something from, I think it was from James Martin, who shared this story of the Pope. Apparently, he either heard from somebody or gotten from the Pope directly about how, like, it was a day or so after he'd been elected Pope, he called his bank in Chicago and
Mhm.
tried to say, and identified himself by his given name. He goes, my name is Robert Prevost. I need to process a name change for the account because I've gone through a name change. I'm like, okay, well, what's your new name? Well, I don't have a last name anymore. And like, what's your name now? Pope Leo? And they just hung up on him. I was like, yeah, that sounds like a truly American interaction. I
Yeah,
just
you're
love.
gonna have to go to the branch for that, sir.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh, bad
And
time
so
to be not.
like I've not done the bank work thing, but I've done enough customer service. I do feel like that would be like, let me page you over to my manager. Just a heads up, we're probably going to need you to come into to a branch or at least do a video call for this.
Look, I'm not going to put too fine a point on it, but like, if it weren't for Trump and Pope Leo was visiting the U.S., that sounds to me like the shit he would actually do. Like, he'd do a tour of the U.S., he'd stop off in Chicago, and he would absolutely go to his old bank and be like, I called about a name change. He said, I have to come in. Here I am. These are the archbishops, a couple of cardinals. They're just here to kind of keep an eye on things. Swiss Guard, they're the guys in the funny suits. Yeah, name change, please.
I wonder what the over under is on him visiting the Obama presidential library that's set to open soon.
I don't know what
Because
it
it's in
is, but he ain't doing
Chicago.
it. He ain't doing it.
Huh?
He is not doing it because he's not. He's said publicly that as long as Trump is still in power, he's not coming to the United States.
That's fucking sad as hell. We finally got an American Pope and he can't even come home. Or won't come home
I got.
because
I got to say, I don't blame him
I don't blame
because
him either. I'm just
like
saying it blows.
yeah, it blows, but like not just as a means of
suck.
I don't blame him necessarily, not just as a means of like declaratory theology. Like if I were the Pope, fuck you, Trump would be the reason I wouldn't go back, and that'd be the end of it. But also, there's like the non-zero chance that Pope Leo would show up, and Trump would say, "You're an American citizen who's engaged in rebellion against the government. I'm a throw you in jail or some bullshit like that." Or you're a foreign citizen because you're now the Pope, and technically he can't be a citizen of both. Or like because of that interplay with citizenry, would like claim some sort of ICE bullshit and try to arrest the Pope. Like I could
I feel
totally
like that
see
would be
Trump
a
doing
good
that.
way to. Well, it's so funny. I want to be like, I feel like that'd be a good way to get shot, but brings us right back around to the assassination attempts, and let's go ahead
Everything
and
comes
wrap
full
this
circle.
bullshit for the evening. All
Yeah.
right, so we are Unfinished Community. That is done. I am Courtney. Find us on Discord. Find us online. Unfinished Community everywhere. Like, share, and subscribe to this
That's the one.
video. Tell your friends about us. Say, hey, I know this sounds really super dumb, but I was listening to this Christian podcast. Please stop walking away. And they bitch about Trump and they bitch about Trump and they swear all the time, and they think that Jesus is trans. I think you should listen.
That wasn't a joke, everybody.
No, the Jesus is trans thing isn't a joke. It's a theological concept based around the way that genetics works.
Yeah.
For all of you, X and
Biology.
XY. Okay, well, if you're gonna go by that definition, then Jesus was trans. Like whether what Jesus's underwear bits looked like, I don't fucking know or care. But if you're going to go by the genetics equals gender representation, Jesus was fucking trans. Okay, so let's move on. All right, so yeah, like, share, and subscribe. I've always been curious if I could do this, if I could just take over the ending from Don, because he just goes for half an hour.
I don't care.
Wrap this motherfucker on up and send y'all home happy, hopefully. A little bit of Naki in my life, a little bit of Dawn by her
I'll
side.
take it. I'll take it. Ride it home, Courtney.
A little bit of beer is what I need. A little bit of weed is what I see.
Hate you.
Anyway,
Come on.
let's go. Okay. Peace, love, dope. See y'all. God bless. Bye.